Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're from. It's another live stream. We are live. Transfers have been made, so if you've tuned into to my last video, you'll know kind of what I was thinking. But we'll get into that straight away, and we'll see what I've done. Maybe a little bit of a slight risk with one of the picks, but we'll see. So we've gone with Foden and Saka. Kind of obvious, really, in some ways, but Saka, obviously the 75% flag is where it's a little bit, maybe a bit risk to have gone so early. But I was confident with Arteta's press conference at the end of the game saying that he pretty much should be okay, right? So, yes, I'm still without Martinelli, which is probably the biggest problem in this team. Armband's pretty much firmly, I think, on Haaland. But yes, Foden and Saka are in for Maddison and Trossard. It is exact money for me before Foden's price rise. I think it was on Thursday morning. So, yeah, made the move for both of them. I could have gone Martinelli and Foden, and I wouldn't have had to rush. Could have just caught Foden's price rise by selling Maddison, and just waited for a little bit more news from Martinelli or Saka, but yeah, just decided to go with who I think is probably more nailed on penalties, to be honest. So here we are, guys. Here we are. Green arrow, 546k now. We're making some progress. I hope you had a fantastic game week 12. Obviously, it's, huge turnarounds. It's so quick. Lots to consider, but yes, guys, we're here again. So I've seen a little bit of noise around Liverpool's situation. Is there going to be a risk that Trent doesn't play? I've seen a little bit of noise around anyone who's brought him in. I mean, I'm an avid fan of Let's Talk FPL, right? He's pretty much one of the godfathers of FPL content, and I just feel so sorry for him. He's just made some really interesting decisions that I think on paper look fine, but yeah, it doesn't look good for him at the moment. But he's not too far off me anyway. So, how are we doing, George? You all right, bud? Very good morning to you, mate. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Anyone who goes for a captaincy choice over Forest, captaincy choice for Salah against Forest, that early kickoff. I've backed them a couple of times, to be honest, the early kickoffs, and they never pay off. So we'll see what happens. Hi, Tanoki. Yeah, indeed. Finally, a deadline that you can join in, mate. Happy to have you as always, bud. So yeah, we're almost into the top 500k now. I had a look at live FPL in terms of the points. I think I'm about 30 points away from 100k, which, to be honest, this season's just been steady. There's no kind of excitement for me really in terms of, a massive green arrow. But this was, I think, about a 300k move, so that's pretty significant. So you have one free transfer without Trent, Salah or Foden. Well, Trent, I was just mentioning him. I think I've just seen some noise that I don't think he gets the start. I'm not 100% sure that he's going to be playing, right? So I don't even think we need to go for him. Salah or Foden, it's an interesting pick between the two of them. I guess it just depends on funds and who you've got to move around. Like, who are your midfielders that can get to Salah or Foden in one move? George, rolling my transfer this week. Might need help with my team selection. So many good fixtures. Yeah, sure. Fire away who your bench headaches are, and let's talk through them. You was thinking Foden's the most essential, but skipping Brighton as a fixture is not the worst. I agree. It is at the Etihad though. That's the only thing that I'll mention, is that City have had their midweek break. Brighton, obviously, we know that they're a pretty solid team, yes, but I think that when they're at the Amex, they are a little bit more. Again, this season, it's one of those things where I properly started taking FPL seriously when COVID hit, and obviously without supporters, the home fixtures kind of didn't really mean much. But I will say that Brighton at home this year, of course, and sort of like the back end of last season, of course, and when COVID was kind of removed, the home advantage is definitely a thing again. And I just think that Brighton, they might fold against a City side that have had a rest, right? So I think Foden is a very, very strong pick. But if you're a follower of FPL Focal as well, he put a screenshot out of all of the content creators' thumbnails, and there was just obviously a huge selection of us that all had Foden in our thumbnails, and it's just like, I wonder who the best pick is, right? So my personal view is that Foden's more essential than Salah at the moment. Yes, we've already discussed that, haven't we, George? Yeah, just let me know who you've got as bench headaches or options, mate, and we'll go from there. Morning, SJ, how you doing? Right, sorry guys, I'm just going to tinker on live on stream. I shouldn't really do this, to be honest. I should have fixed this way before I started, but I just want the copy of the chat. Let's lock that as well. Cool. Funds are clear to go to Foden. Need 2 transfers for Salah. Midfield of Zaha, Martinelli, Bowen, Mount and Andreas. It's a tricky one, isn't it, that? I mean, for me personally, I did think Mount was a solid option. I know, because you've surely only just brought him in, right? I feel like that's way too knee-jerk because he's blanked, and he still has potential to do well. Against United, though, I'm not sure. In terms of fixtures, let's be honest. You're not going to sell Bowen ahead of Bournemouth, right? It's just not going to happen. Zaha ahead of Everton. Okay, Everton away is maybe a little bit more difficult in some ways, but it's still Everton, right? They're just leaking goals all the time at the moment, so I think that he's still a solid option. I think out of all of them players, to be honest with you, Tanoki, I'd probably look at moving Mount to Foden. George, so you've got Trippier, Gahey or Justin, start 2 and bench 1. I'm definitely starting Trippier. I know the Tottenham fixture on paper looks hard, but I'm just going to have to say you've got to start him. I just think he's just too... The Newcastle defence are much more formidable now than they've ever been before. Eddie Howe's got them playing properly. So I think with Trippier's attacking threat, he's a must. Gahey and Justin, I think... I'm going to be honest now, I've watched a couple of eye tests of James Justin. He's not as attacking as I first thought. When I brought him in, Castagna's definitely the better option of the two in terms of defensive options for Leicester that could provide returns. Gahey, on the other hand, though, great at set pieces. So I would say probably have a look at the statistics of Everton, how much they concede from set pieces, because Gahey's had some great chances. I think he had a couple of headers against Wolves that went astray. But I think he's probably the better option of the three. So Trippier and Gahey, I think, just about tip it for me. It's Jay, I'm going good. I got in Saka and Odegaard yesterday ahead of their price changes. Very nice, very nice. I mean, that's the thing. I brought both of these players in, I think, on Thursday or Wednesday night is when I made the move. Anyway, and it was after the video I made. I can't remember which day it was. So yeah, I also got the price rises, which is good. Odegaard's interesting. Interesting why you went for that. Tanoki, Foden is more essential than Salah. Definitely having him for game week 14 to 16 is the suicide. The question is if the move now is better than possibly waiting a week. Understood. I think, to be honest, look, Forest, Salah can definitely do some damage. This is the type of double-digit haul that you expect, right? So your situation is your midfield is so strong that, like you say, look, yep, ruled out selling Bowen immediately. And like you said, bringing in Mount was to give option of rolling the transfer. Yeah, it's such a tricky one because I do think Salah has got the double digit in him. And that's the risk of not being with him against Forest. I know, obviously, we had a 0-0 with Brighton and Forest, right? But I don't know. I can just see Liverpool doing some serious damage. Yeah, I've got the chat on the side now. Yeah, this welcome to the live chat thing, though. I'm not sure how to get rid of it. Like, if I click on learn more, I'm not sure, if that... No, it doesn't really avoid it, which is a bit of annoying. So this bit here, but hey ho. No worries, George. Hopefully it helped. Like I say, I think if you can, if you want me to check some stats for you, I'm more than happy to do it. But yeah, I think maybe just that tipping point would be Everton's kind of, set piece, let's say defensive record, because Gahey poses probably a big threat there. Doctor, I'm taking such a massive risk. Fire away, mate. Share with the community what your risk is, sir. Captain in Skamaka. Changing my mind on rolling the transfer. Thought I could hold off for a week on Maddison to Foden, but any price rises or drops and I can't afford it. Exactly what I said in my team selection video as well, bud. It's just so difficult because with Maddison, I really wanted him to play against this Wolves fixture. It's just, I see it being I see it being that he'll, with this rest in the midweek because of that yellow card situation, it could potentially be a really good fixture for him. But yeah, I don't know, mate. I just think it's a must now. I mean, what's Foden's ownership now? He's got to be 25% plus, right? 26.7. So I don't know what Madders is now. But I think, in terms of ownership, for me personally, this team, because I've got no Martinelli, that's the huge risk. Saka's already gone up to 15.5%. Your captain in Trent, my thinking is he starts as a winger or a midfielder. Interesting. So I started with the stream saying that does he get benched? I mean, I'm sure as with everybody that consumes FPL content, about Andy and on Let's Talk FPL. I saw a Twitter post this morning of him putting him on his bench, but I don't know sources, of course, because it's the early kickoff. I'm not sure if there's been some news that he's, possibly going to get rested or benched, or it's just too quick of a turnaround. I don't know. But that is a risk, mate. Definitely. I would try to, if you've got any sources for Liverpool starting lineups, then definitely I think try to check them out. Unfortunately, I'm just not the person at the moment within the community to check for sources. I just need to up my game on that within Twitter, the Twitter sphere. I just don't know who to check, basically. Eric Stave, should I take out Bowen for Foden? Well, we've just had that conversation with another viewer. I think, to be honest, Bournemouth fixture, you're selling I know he missed a penalty against Liverpool, but I'm pretty certain he's still probably on penos unless Rice takes over from him now that he's missed one. But I think against Bournemouth, surely you don't sell him. I do think, is there any other route that you've got to Foden, mate? George Kent, Martinelli or Andreas? Sounds like an easy choice, but Andreas has a great fixture and looked amazing against Villa. Yes, he did. You're right. I mean, look, the thing is, I think that Andreas is still a great bench option. I think ahead of a Southampton fixture, you've got to go with Arsenal, right? I think he only played about 60 minutes in the midweek fixture. 67, something like that, I think, when I checked. So surely you've got to play Martinelli. I do understand your thinking, though, George. I just think first bench option for Andreas, because if anyone's injured or something happens, he's a good option, I think, as a bench. SJ, mate, you've got to be starting Pereira. Got to start Andreas. Villa managerless. Mings he's just scored an own goal. His confidence is lacking. He's had the captaincy stripped off him. There's too many psychological battles I think that this man's facing. It's like a kind of a miniature Harry Maguire story. Do you know what I mean? That's just kind of, he's not really performing very well as what he can do for sure. And I just think that you've got to be playing Andreas. Tanoki, yeah. If you remove Mount for Foden, it's so difficult, right? Now, I was in a situation where I wanted to really go with Foden next week. I didn't really want to target it this week. If you watch my team selection video, I'm talking about Arsenal this week because I think the Southampton fixture overall is better than the Brighton fixture. But once I saw so many people bringing him in and that potential price rise, I just didn't want to get priced out of him. I would say just have a look at a few weeks' time then, Tanoki. If you're really not sure, bud, then just have a look at what potential price rises and falls could do to you. Doctor, the news is Milner starts. Nothing about Trent. People are assuming Milner starts at right back. Fair enough. I mean, if Trent does start really aggressive on the right wing, then, I mean, wow, what an option he could be for captaincy. What an option he could be. Eric, it's your only route to Foden. I mean, that's such a difficult one. For me personally, if I did own Bowen, I think I might hold off for just until 14 to 16. Like, if we're going to be honest, out of these 4 fixtures, Brighton is probably the one that may cause a little bit more difficulty for City. But that's, again, at the beginning of the stream, I mentioned this is at the Etihad. It's not at the Amex. Brighton are a formidable team. I will give them 100% respect. But this is a different monster that they're facing now in City. So I think between 14 and 16, he becomes absolutely essential. I think maybe Bowen against Bournemouth could equal what Foden does against Brighton. But it's so difficult. It's such a coin toss. Tanoki, there's just never a situation you would play Andreas over a non-4.5 player. Yeah. Hi, Mateusz. How you doing, bud? No worries, George. 2.5 in the bank, so being priced out is not a concern. Okay, happy days. It's just 2 more wild cards this season, basically, and having more money down the road might be more valuable. For sure. I mean, we know that obviously the World Cup is going to freeze everybody's value, right? So you want to try and get as much as possible. And also later in the season, it does make a big difference. It does make a big difference because when you bench boost and then wild card out of one, which is normally the right way to do it in terms of, I don't like using, let's say, right and wrong in FPL because there's just lots of variance and luck and lots of other factors, right? But normally you just sort of, increase your bench value up to the point of a bench boost and then you wild card out and it just gives you, a lot more money in the starting 11 at the end, basically. Almiron or Anderson? I'm going to be honest. I think with Almiron's form, it's someone that I completely overlooked. I mean, I got too caught up, I think, on the Trossard versus Forest fixture. 100%. There's a couple of people that watch my content, a few viewers, different people in the community that I saw transfer him in other than Trossard, and he goes and scores a double-digit haul. And I think against Spurs, that's not a hard fixture, to be honest, for Newcastle now. They're really pushing to finish top 6. So I like Almiron, mate. I'm going to be honest. I guess the question mark for me, though, over that pick is that if you think that Crystal Palace are going to keep a clean sheet, then Anderson pretty much, that banks you a 6-pointer. If you think Almiron's going to get at least 1 attack in return, that will match pretty much what Anderson delivers. If you don't think that Almiron's going to get 1 attack in return, you start Anderson. That's kind of the mathematical logic, I suppose, that you use. But again, this is the thing with fantasy, right? I love creating content. I love giving advice as much as I can, but it's just an absolute coin flip. Yeah, Eze was definitely a good selection as well. I think really that him and Almiron at that kind of price point now, they're kind of the standout options for me. If you can't quite get to Zaha or you want sort of, that exciting pick at 5 sort of ish million, 5 to 5.5, they're pretty solid options. Just check Twitter, no news for Liverpool leaked 11 yet. Okay, bud. Okay. Well, we've got 40 minutes to the deadline. So hopefully for you, mate, if you're going to keep the armband on him, on Trent that is, then yeah, hopefully we get some news. I'll be interested to see where Salah plays as well, because if Klopp sticks to this 4-4-2, it just, I don't know, it isn't benefiting Salah in terms of his attacking output. He just looks a little bit lost sometimes, right? He needs to be playing in a either of that 4-3-3 that was so formidable, or just centrally. Tanoki, it would have been Zaha and Eze, so 18 points from the last 2 game weeks. Oh, mate, that's absolutely gutting. But again, this is what I'm talking about with FPL. You just, it's so... If you win it overall, you must have had so many decisions go your way. It's all about jumping on players at the right time and taking them out at the right time also. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of managers that can do it consistently, and to be honest, I'd love to know how. There must be some secret sauce somewhere, boys. But yeah, just for now, I think the point is that Eze and and Almiron, I think, are good options at that price point. I think even Eze might be an option now. Like if you got 2 free transfers to play around with and your team looks pretty good, I'd probably think about putting him in. I mean, Palace's fixtures, like I'm hoping to hold Zaha all the way through until 16. If you got Forest, Southampton, Everton, West Ham's maybe a little bit trickier because it's away, but the Forest, Southampton, and Everton fixtures definitely you can see Eze outscoring Zaha for 2 million cheaper. Morning, Keith. How you doing, bud? Good to see you, mate. 4-4-2 with Salah withdrawn, more like a 4-4-1-1 might work since they're experimenting anyway. Yeah, very true. Very true. I just feel like in the 4-4-2 system at the moment, Salah's not as predominant as he's been before. I just think that again, my situation last week was when I didn't really have a standout captaincy option other than Trossard. And he was actually in some ways closer to scoring than Salah. But yeah, I went with Liverpool against West Ham, thinking that they would do maybe a little bit more damage. And then, of course, this Forest fixture. So I still believe that he can score a big sort of not a haul necessarily, but I do think that he over these next few weeks he can come back into some kind of form. But I think Klopp needs to give him, I don't know, just that little bit more freedom up front. Keith, Milner playing today, so no Trent it seems. Yeah, so we've had this discussion already a little bit. So doctors checked Twitter and there's no news for Liverpool as of yet in terms of the full 11. And there's obviously that assumption that Milner plays right back. But what if Trent plays more advanced? In that scenario, I think if he plays Trent really advanced against Forest, surely, I mean, if you've got a route to him, or if you've got him in your team, I think you play him. But it'd be interesting. I mean, we've still got 30 minutes to the deadline, right? 35. So, we could get some more information, but... Yeah, there's definitely that winger option, I think. Getting team news at 10:50. Interesting. Have you got anyone from Liverpool, Keith? Or have you got Trent specifically? I mean, that has got to be an annoyance. Spending that much money on someone that you think might be benched, and this is one of the best fixtures for him. That's just unfortunate. Could go flip a coin on the Mount to Foden decision, then blame the coin. Yeah, rather than blaming me or blaming anyone else in the community, blaming Twitter, blaming the hype. Like I said, mate, honestly, the amount of people that have put Foden in their thumbnail for their videos this week is absolutely insane. Like, all of us have pretty much used either the same image, let alone the same player. It's absolutely hilarious. Zero Liverpool at the moment. Fair enough, bud. But they're not exactly looking the sharpest, right? They're just not been on it this season at all. No, just got Salah. Might captain him if no Nunez. Interesting. I think he is definitely a solid captain option. I think the interesting thing is with Nunez is that I actually, if he's fit and if he can get a sort of starting place, maybe after the World Cup I'll consider having him over Salah. But just because how selfish the guy is, right? He just doesn't pass. He just shoots all the time. But from an FPL perspective, that's fantastic. Like, he's not on Penos, obviously, but for 4 million cheaper, kind of who cares at that point? Like, if he constantly hogs the ball and shoots all the time, it's kind of what you want from a forward. So, Patrick, hi, I have Robertson. A problem again too. Yes, bud. Sorry to see that he didn't start again midweek. And Tsimikas got an assist, didn't he, as well, just to kind of make matters a little bit worse. But yeah, Patrick, Keith's mentioned that there's possibly team news at about 10 to 11, so we might get some more information for you. So I'd say hold Robertson just for now, bud. Just leave it. He's a lot of money obviously tied up into someone, so just keep him for now. And let's see if we can get some team news on the channel. Tanoki Coin says Mount to Foden. My team is locked for the week. Well, it's kind of, in some ways, that's the decision that I probably would have gone with, right? Over it, regardless of the coin. I think, to be honest, look, Mount against United, I don't know. I mean, still, as a United fan, I'm not going to sit here and just big us up after that, that 2-0 victory over Spurs. But Ten Hag's building something. He really is. He's doing some absolute wonders for this team. We covered, I think, an extra 20 kilometres versus Spurs than we did versus Brighton or Brentford, which tells you an absolute story about the work rate. So I just think that Mount's going to find it a little bit difficult. And out of the rest of your midfielders, Bud, he surely was the one that was going to get sold, right? I trust in the coin, Bud, is what I'm trying to say. Trust in the coin. Let's... Oh, apologies, the chat has disappeared. There we go, we're back. Yeah, guys, so if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to me. I would love to reach a 410 mark by the end of this stream, if possible. We got, 30 minutes? 30 minutes till deadline. I might stay on for a little bit longer. But yeah, we're approaching that 500 mark. Community tab on the way for this channel. Keith, we were really impressive midweek. Hoping Chelsea game is not a dud now. Certainly has the potential to do something with this team. Yeah. Very true. George Kent, Chelsea versus United is going to be interesting. Potter has Chelsea playing too. That is a good point. That is a good point. And I mean, come on, the performances that Kepa is putting in, right? I mean, this keeper it's ridiculous. Like, he's surely kept Mendy out of the starting lineup now. It's absolutely phenomenal what that man is doing. Like, the saves that he was making are just, some of them are just, I can't believe it. I mean, I knew he was pretty good, but just, from an eye test perspective, I mean, if you want a cheap keeper, if you're wildcarding in 13, I just think he's in your team, honestly. Even against the United fixture, I think he's, solid. The hope now is nothing big happens for me to do next week. Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, 14 is United, obviously, again, mentioning them. Our fixtures look absolutely perfect to target from an FPL perspective. And with Ronaldo's kind of attitude issues at the moment and the way Ten Hag's dealing with it is absolutely fantastic, by the way. Rashford probably does get that number 9 slot, so I think he's probably going to be a move that I consider. I don't know for who now, though. It was going to be Maddison out when he played City, but not sure. 14 will be interesting, but if I can roll, I probably will do as well, if that's your aim. Keith, Chelsea been giving up chances. Their results don't reflect the XG. Absolutely, and that's why I mentioned Kepa. I mean, Tony, see, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you mentioned about, am I worried about Tony last week? He could have scored 2 goals easily and some against Chelsea. Kepa was phenomenal against him. There was a couple of almost point blank headers, right? Little nod on header, I think there was, that he saved. Something else he did, I can't remember now. But yeah, I think United have got a really good chance against Chelsea, to be honest. I really do. And do I think Mount's got a good chance against United? Possibly. We're not that formidable defensively still, but the Tottenham performance was a very good indicator that we might carry on. Tanoki, by the way, is it possible to increase the volume? Your streams need to be set max volume for me to hear. Sure, bud. I mean, my mic, I think I adjusted it slightly because of on the recordings. I think I ended up a little bit too quiet. I've turned it up a little bit there for you. Hopefully that helps. Let me know. Patrick, my Robertson backup is Cody, so I will not transfer even if he does not start. But for next week, we'll look elsewhere. Kepa was known before for being bad at shots from distance. Okay, fair enough. I mean, even then, though, even if you're bad from shots at distance, what he's been doing point blank is still something to behold from at least from the eye test of the highlights. He looked like he was just, it was unstoppable for pretty much. Brentford were in the game, right? They were in the game the whole 90 minutes by the looks of it. And he just stopped them. But yeah, I think going back to the Robertson point there as well, Cody's a pretty good backup, I think, mate. Against Palace, though, maybe a little bit tricky, but it's a home fixture, so not too bad. Rashford and Anthony looks to be one to consider, absolutely, mate. Anthony's just that 1 million more expensive that I'm just a little bit conscious of spending on, considering he does get substituted, but he is a very, very good option, I think, from FPL, because he cuts in from the right, and his left foot is something special. Delo on stretches of fixture where you expect a few clean sheets. True. Delo's good as well. Tony was more the yellow card, but also thought it was a tougher fixture. But yes, he should. Got at least 2, yeah. I mean, the yellow card situation, I'm really hoping that he can survive for me. Because these next few weeks, like if we have a look at his fixtures again, I'm pretty sure. Doesn't he play Forest at some point here? Wolves and Forest in 14 and 15. Man, I just need him to stay yellow card free for these 2 fixtures. But Villa are managerless, so I'm very confident in his possible returns for him this week. Andy FPL tweeted at 10:50, Liverpool team news comes out. Okay. I don't know who his source is. That's what I mean. I need to kind of maybe dig a bit in terms of research on who to trust. But yeah, Andy is the godfather of FPL content, to be honest. So I would trust whatever he shares. Tanoki, it is better if anyone else can confirm. Yeah, please let me know, guys, if the volume is still a little bit, I don't know, quieter or... imagine saying back in game week 2 that you'll consider a triple Man U at some point in this season. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. I don't think I've actually had a Man United asset in my team since the beginning of the season. It's going to change, though. It's going to change. I like Bruno as well against Spurs. Like I don't know. There's something about him without Ronaldo playing that I really like as well. And with the armband, this man is something different. It's just the price, right? That's the only thing that I'm a little bit hesitant with. Don't take it as gospel, right? Alisson, Milner, Gomez, Van Dijk, Robbo, Elliot, Fabinho, Thiago, Carvalho, Salah, Firmino. I mean, that is a very possible lineup because Elliot can comfortably play right wing. He just tweeted Trent is benched. Well, there you go, Doctor. If you're considering captaining him, maybe think twice. Maybe think twice. Castagna or Trippier? Ooh, that's a good one, mate. That's a good one. Is there any other options, Mossy? Or is this literally just your choice? Because I kind of want to start both of them for you, to be honest. I like Castagna from an aggressive point of view. I think he's a lot more forward than James Justin is after watching a couple of Leicester games recently. So I'd definitely prefer to have gone to him, I think. And Trippier, you can't look past him, right? Surely. Tanoki, the thing is, I am thinking that a lot of the 4.3 to 4.5 defenders are looking good at the moment. Indeed. I mean, big at the back or whatever it was at the beginning of the season was definitely a thing. I really underestimated it, to be honest. But now it's just not happening. I think this fixture congestion, that's what... I mean, most of us shifted to a 3-4-3 after wildcards, right? The forward slot now, the third forward slot, is maybe looking like it can be better put into another defender or a solid midfielder, right? Keith will get real team at 10.50. I mean, it's a pretty good guess. I honestly think that's a pretty good guess. I think it's between Elliot and Trent, surely, on that right wing slot. Because Elliot's been, in my opinion, I think he's been pretty good. Milner's just a really interesting choice. Like, why has Klopp done it? Has Trent just felt a niggle again on his... Was it his ankle? Did he just come back too quickly? Like, is there any reason as to why he would be benched? I don't really understand it. One of the most creative right wing backs that you can get in football, and he's not playing him. Tanoki maybe could free up funds for the freemium again. Very true. Could be a possibility. Who would you go for, though? Who would be your premium choices? Throw them at me. Mossy, it's a tough choice. Okay, understood. That's why you've probably come here for advice, mate, to be honest, if it's a tough choice already. I personally would say that Trippier edges Castagna, But my preference, if it was my team, obviously I don't know your full starting 11, but I would try to fit both of them in. Apparently Nunez didn't travel. Interesting. That definitely, I think, makes Salah that little bit more attractive from a captain perspective. I don't think I'm going to change the choice. I still think I'm probably going to stick with Haaland just because it's the early fixture. Who have we got as free? So City are 3 o'clock today. Wow, and Palace as well. So I think we're going to know how my game week's going on pretty quickly into the week. Freemium would now be Haaland, Kane and Salah. Solid options, mate. Solid options. I think really they are. Like, would you consider, because that's the thing with Sterling, Fernandes, Son's obviously a little bit higher priced. Do we consider them as in the premium price bracket, or would you say they're kind of, you know, high priced midfielders? So I think, like I said, Bruno definitely could be an option. You know, I'm not gonna jinx it, but I genuinely think that he looked really good against Spurs. Liverpool probably will be very busy in the winter mercado. I don't know if that's a football term that I just don't understand, mate, but I've never heard that before. What's that? Oh, do you mean the World Cup? Or transfer window. George, keeping Haaland as captain for his goal record at home. Guy is averaging 2 goals a game at home. This is what I'm saying. He's just an absolute different beast, right? Doctor, I can't find this leaked 11 that Keith sent in the chat on Twitter. No, it's his prediction. It was just Keith's prediction. It wasn't a Twitter leak. He said, don't take it as gospel. Tanoki, Gandhi smiling in his grave. Son would be premium. Yeah, I think Son makes premium because he's nearly 12, but then the rest of them, I'm not sure. Ah, okay, Mercado is Spanish for market. Okay, yes. Understood. Trust Salah as captain. Surely he gets a couple of returns. Haaland then has to get at least 2. I'm really torn. I mean, the good thing is that here's the situation, Keith, right? For me, it's more about like the rank situation. So if you're trying to chase rank, you maybe take more of a punt or the risk on Salah. I think, to be honest, though, that the ownership level is 33.7%. Haaland's over 83%. I know I don't really like just going, I'll do it because everyone else is doing it, but it just becomes really damaging. It becomes really damaging that if you captain Salah, like, this is the thing, mentioning Andy, I'll mention him again. In game week 9, he captained Salah over Haaland, and look what's happened. You know, I think he mentioned he's only 25,000 higher than he was pre-wild card, and that a lot of that is to do with the fact he missed out on an extra 20 odd points because of the captaincy choice. I think I'm just content with owning Salah and potentially getting double digits from him without captaincy. I'm just happy to kind of own him. But then that's just, I don't know, that's my thinking with it. It was a Twitter account that sent the team. Oh, okay, it was. Fair enough. I thought it was your prediction, bud. Yeah, I just think that if he provides any attacking output for us today, that's enough in itself. Having a double-digit haul from him is what we kind of expect after what happened last season. But just that in its own, 10, 12 points, something like that, I'll be happy with that. Andy tweeted, Trent is benched. I'm going to change my team. Yeah. I mean, literally, he's probably, like I say, he's the godfather of FPL, mate. So if he's saying he's benched, he's probably got a very, very good source that's telling him that. And without Darwin, the defence can concentrate on Salah. Interesting take, yes. But this is Forest defence. They're not exactly, the Virgil van Dijks or the Ruben Diaz's of this world, right? Maybe I should even put Gabriel or Saliba in that conversation now, huh? Or Martinez, can we throw him in there yet? Well, Tanoki, you don't own Salah, so obviously you'd be you'd be very happy with a lukewarm performance. I need some explosivity from this man, to be honest. Costing me so much money, but hey ho. Need the full blank. Keith, but how can you not captain Salah against the worst team in the league? Makes no sense. No, I know, mate. This is the thing. I literally, when I brought him in, again, it's the Forest fixture. It's the Forest fixture that I looked at and said, right, you know, that's a captaincy choice, but I just can't. When I see Haaland in the team, mate, I just can't do it. He's chasing literally records, this man. And City they've got one of the best creative midfielders behind him in the league, if not the best, in De Bruyne. I can't see it. I have to say that Haaland's a better captaincy choice. He just is. Can't wait for Andy to say people are benched when they are to throw everyone off. No, he can't. I don't think he'd do that to the community, man. I'm going to be honest. I like watching Andy. He seems like a really good guy. Or the legend Nico could shut out Salah and overtake his points. Can you imagine? Oh, boys. It's just, honestly, I can't love how he's now considered a legend as well. 2 returns in his whole season, basically, or 2 clean sheets, should I say, so far. And he's automatically in the legend category. I'm now captaining De Bruyne and bench Trent for Andreas. I mean, to be honest, Andreas is a good bench option. Like we discussed this with another viewer earlier, right? That I think as a first bench option for most teams, he's a pretty good cover. To play him against Leeds, I don't think is the worst fixture, bud. I don't think it's the worst. Captain De Bruyne as well, I like it, mate. I like it. I just think if you've got Haaland, though, you choose Haaland. Tanoki, maybe Aurea right back and Nico left back again to personally shut Salah out. Maybe. Anfield edition. Alexander-Arnold is on the bench today. Oh my god. I'm gonna look at Twitter. Surely this has got to have exploded in terms of the FPL world, right? How owned is Trent? %. And he's 7.2 now. Man, what a fall from grace. Look at these points. It's just, oh my god, I feel for him. 17 in that 9-0. But then look at that since 2-1, 0-0-1, and then 8. Oh my god. And now benched. It's a killer. Nico returned in 100% of the fixtures I needed him. Exactly the same as me. The 2 weeks I've played him, he's given me returns. I got the assist for the penalty and thought there was a possible haul coming in. Was that against Bournemouth when they lost? Was it 3-2 that they lost? I think he got 4 points for me that week and then scored me 6 last week. He's 100% record for me too, mate. Doctor, yep, it's confirmed by other Liverpool sources. Trent is benched. Oh my god. I do wonder why though. Like I say, I just feel like is there something more than just the quick turnaround for Klopp? Is it just that something's happened with Salah? With Trent, sorry. Why is he benched now? I don't really I know it is a quick turnaround. It's the early kickoff, but you know, has he felt another niggle or something? That's more than 75% of my team. Yeah. The thing is though, with like midfielders and stuff, sometimes it is just the case. You ride through the season just seeing 2 points after 2 points. And I'm going to be honest, with Zaha, you know, getting the 8 points last week, great stuff. But I genuinely started thinking, is this what it's going to be like owning him for the next 5 weeks? Am I going to get 2-3, 2-3, 2? Maybe Salah right back and Milner wide midfield on the right. Oh, mate. Then, I mean, if anyone's captaining Salah at right back, good luck, boys. No, I think all jokes aside, I do still think he is a good captaincy option. I do. But I just think if you've got Haaland in your team, I just can't bet against him. Can't bet against him. 405 subscribers, guys. If you are new and you're a returning viewer that hasn't subscribed yet, please consider doing it. If we can reach 410 in the next 15 minutes, I would be eternally grateful. Well on that way to the 500 mark. My mind is done. I might start Trent 30 minutes versus Forest or Andreas versus Leeds. Oh my God. Okay, I mean, that scenario, I think if you think Trent is going to play any minutes, I actually would start him. I think I would start him. The problem is, though, we saw last weekend, he give him 1 minute, 2 minutes at the end. Go Andreas, mate. Just play with the... Andreas is on set pieces as well as Willian, but he was still taking a lot of corners against Villa. Just go Andreas, bud. Keith, no Perisic and Doherty for Spurs this week either. The guy who predicts Spurs is normally spot on too, starting that is. Yeah. I mean, I kind of predicted that as well to some degree. I think when you've got a midweek fixture and both of them played those minutes, they did. It's unlikely they start. I think FPL Phillips has got both of them as well. Another good guy that I've watched during pre-season, and obviously I know he studies, so he doesn't put so much content out. But I'm pretty certain he's got both of them starting, which is a shame. 2-3-2-3-2 sounds great. My stint of Maddison bowling in the mud. Tanoki, I'll go Andreas to be safe. Yeah, I think at this point, when you know someone's benched, it's just very difficult. It is really difficult. It goes back to that Son, the 19-pointer, right? We pretty much knew, or we thought that Son was going to be benched. I went Bowen over Son for that 1 week punt. Bowen blanked that week and then scored ridiculously the next. And Son came off the bench and scored a hat-trick. I don't think Trent's going to do that. You know, he might get an assist off the bench, but then you look at that and go, well, he scored 4 points. He won't be in the bonus because there won't be any clean sheet. Andreas could do the same. He might score 3. So then you're only 1 point better off anyway. So I think it's just still too risky. The 59-minute sub. Oh, mate. What game was that? That was enough for me. That was the nail in the coffin for this man. Here, 58-minute against Everton. Let me just reset my camera. Sorry, I don't know why that's happened. Where's my camera? Well, it's gone out of focus now. I'm not sure why, but I'm a bit blurry now. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's happened. Normally, I have to restart OBS to get it working, but hold on. Give it a minute. There we go. Boom. We fixed it. Well, I took a risk captaining Trent. Might as well take a risk. I've made my mind up. Trent it is. Oh, bud. So you are going to play him, even though he's benched. I think that could be a mistake, mate. I do. I genuinely do. But good luck with it, bud. Not sure why my chat freezes as well. Like, I have to go to the tab to actually keep the chat live. I'm not sure. It's a bit weird. Told by the reliable, the COP HQ, the Liverpool 11 is Alisson, Milner, Gomez, VVD, Robertson. Nice. Patrick, if you're still watching, bud, Keep Robbo in your team, as mentioned. Excuse me. Fabinho, Thiago, Elliott, Salah, Firmino, Carvalho. Okay. Decent. It's a shame for you, Dr. Bud, that he's not starting. I just honestly don't do it to yourself. The headache, mate. The headache of him coming. You can see it now. They might go 2-3-0 up. He comes on the 60th minute, 70th minute, maybe for 20 minutes maximum, and doesn't get anything. He won't get the clean sheet points. Well, there you go, Patrick. I would start Robertson, mate. Start Robbo. Excuse me. Yes, mate. The Nunez punters. The thing is that, I mean, wasn't there news that he only felt something on his hamstring? I don't think there was like a major injury concern. But if he's not travelled at all, oh dear. Salaries up front, decisions. Mate, 8 minutes. It's the early kickoff. I can't do it. I'm going to watch with so much pain. It's literally, this kickoff is going to be an absolute killer. Klopp could be thinking that the Forest game is worth rotating. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that does make a lot of sense. You pretty much surely, if you're in Klopp's position, you this is not, again, I don't want to be offensive to any Forest fans or just Forest in general as a team, because they've got this far, they've got to the Premier League. They absolutely had a worldie of a season in the Championship, so I can't sit here and slate them as a squad or a team or whatever. But surely, like you say, if Klopp's looking at that fixture, he's got to be saying this should be not a walkover, but it should be comfortable, right? What was it? 6 games in 2 weeks for Liverpool. Yeah, I mean, because of all obviously the Champions League fixtures as well, it just adds a lot of pressure on them. That kind of, I suppose that does make sense. Then I'm sat here saying, has something happened to Trent? But you're right. Actually, the fixture congestion might justify it just in itself. Oh dear. What are you doing then, Keith? What have you decided, mate? What have you decided? Because, like I said, I think I'm content with Salah returning alone. I don't need to captain him. I'm just happy that if he returns, he returns. Right, any other headaches for people? We got our bench order in order. Vice captaincy. 6 minutes to go, boys. 6 minutes. You've got to love Twitter, haven't you, sometimes? I mean, literally, since starting the channel, I'm brand new to it, right? I never used it before. But it is fun. Firmino bench, Darwin starts. It's just murderous how some people think they can get away with shit like that. Sorry if you've got kids watching. I'll try not to swear on the stream. I'm playing Ward over Pope. Mate, just again, this man, 9-pointer. Like he's the biggest troll of FPL, I'm sure. It's absolutely incredible. He scored like 9 points over the first 8 game weeks. He goes and scores 9 in the last game week without 3 saves. It's absolutely madness. But yeah, no. In all honesty, though, I think I would play Ward over Pope. I do think that Wolves away is still a good. It's a much better fixture than Spurs in reality. 90k Green Arrow last week. Very nice, mate. Very nice. Very nice. What's your rank now, bud? I'm really hoping pre-World Cup. My aim now is if I can break the top 200k before the World Cup, I'll be so happy with this season. So happy. Obviously not as an overall, just in terms of like going into that break. I think it'll give us a great foundation to push on, right? Three minutes till deadline, guys. Get those captaincies locked in. And of course, if you're new, I don't think at this point there's any new people viewing, but if there is, and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. Consider following me on Twitter as well. I think really I have put my Instagram out there as well. I don't really use it as much. Maybe later on. I'll keep the account open for now. Maybe I'll use it at some point, but much more active on YouTube predominantly. And then, yeah, if you fancy a follow on Twitter as well, then handle is on the left-hand side at FPL_link. And yeah, if we can reach 410 subscribers, that'd be phenomenal. Where are we at now? 405 still? 405. All good. Hoping top 100k for my first FPL season. Big hopes. I mean, to be honest, it's only just over 1.4 million. I think the ranks are still very condensed, mate. Honestly, I think breaking into the top 100k at your rank. Let me just have a look quickly to see where the ranks are on Live FPL before the site goes down. So if you're 1.4 million, you're roughly about 70 points away from the top 100k at the moment. That's quite a lot. But then 500k is about 45 points away from you, something a bit more, maybe 50. That's doable. Like 500k, I think, would be a respectable finish for you. But you've got to remember that there will be managers that fall off. They just will. Like with World Cups, with wild cards and bench boosts, triple cap, all these chips, you will make up ground. But the thing is, as well, don't necessarily just look at your first season, Tanoki. You're much more engaged in, obviously, this community directly. You're a avid watcher, which I appreciate. You're consuming content, whereas obviously my first FPL season, I was just playing the game by myself, basically. Just based on who I thought were good football players, not necessarily good FPL options, right? And I finished about 1.7 million, I think. Let me have a look at the first season I played. Okay, 1.9, and then and then 1 million in those 2 seasons there. So, and that was casual. So I think 500k is a respectable finish for you, and I also think that if you do reach the 100k, then mate, what an achievement. Patrick, yes, you need to win your own league so you can keep the big money prize. Tanoki, the thing is my game weeks tend to not be bad, but I haven't had any points above 80. Interesting. I mean, the thing is, the most important thing is to try and stay above average. If you can stay above average for every week, which is actually easier said than done, but if you can, you'll probably finish in the top, easily within the top 500k, I think. Are we locked? Locked indeed. Let's have a look. Boom. Look at that. I'll keep this on screen because I always forget that it goes and you can't see it. So I'll keep this on screen for anybody that joins after. Winston, good luck to you. Also, my friend. Keith, good luck. Who did you captain, mate? Who did you go for? just tweet out a team. What's happening? Game week 13. Captain Jesus. Wow, good luck. Differential. Tanoki, probably easily. My points have been above the average every week, bar a few that are just 1 to 2 points short. Yeah, I honestly think that you'll probably reach 500k if you're above average every week. I think that'll probably be more than doable. Keith Harlan, just couldn't bring myself to captain Salah, but I do fancy him to outscore. Listen, Matt, I don't blame you. I was in the same situation, right? Like the toss up between the two, it's very close, but I think you just got to back the City man, right? Patrick, I did not have a single 86 plus score, but now 550k. Wow, we're pretty much on the same points then, right? We must be. Good luck, guys. I'll be hoping Nico plays left back and personally shuts out Salah. Good luck with it. Good luck with it. I mean, he does know him, but I'm pretty certain that Salah's going to play quite centrally. But we'll see. We'll see. Good luck anyway, mate. Good luck. So, Haaland captain. What were my moves again? Trossard, Maddison. Foden. Will be worth it, even if I see those points on my bench, yeah. I am far ahead of you, 1 point. Yes, it was a -4 for me, Patrick, a -4. I just think the situation is I could have gone with just Saka. I couldn't afford Trossard to Foden. And I just think the reality is I couldn't decide between both of them. So maybe some other people in the community might say, well, -4 is not really worth it for those two moves. And maybe they're right. But it's my second -4. I'm really happy with the squad now. Really happy with it. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. But of course, good luck for the week. I need to figure out how to see. Look at what happens with the YouTube chat. I need to figure out a way of not having it on my screen. The only way I can probably do it is through OBS. I think that's going to be the way that I do it. Pity about the yellow Dorito. Yeah, the Dorito, mate. The Dorito. Nobody likes the Dorito of death. I mean, the thing is, that 75% flag on Saka, though, I don't think is going to be a problem. I was confident with Arteta because I brought him in actually after. So it was the Thursday night. Yeah, it was Thursday. I was saying Wednesday, but it was Thursday night that I brought him in. But it was after seeing how many minutes he played and also after Arteta's press conference. I felt like he's probably going to be okay. And if he's not, then I've got Andreas as the first bench option. So maybe the -4 was a bit hasty. I still think Saka plays, though. Deadline done, Doctor. Yes, it is indeed, mate. We're locked. We're locked in. I think if there is any week to take of -4, is this one. Well, this is the thing. I'm going with an Arsenal and a City asset. So I'm bringing in, essentially, with the Game Week 13 wildcarders, I absolutely know that we're probably going to see triple up City, triple up Arsenal. Maybe double up Arsenal, triple up City. So I wanted to try and keep up with the pack, and a -4 for that after a positive game week 12. You got to remember my specific situation is I got a 300k green arrow, so -4 for me I feel like is justified. Chelsea Man U predictions. Well, my predictions have been absolutely shocking for United, to be honest. I predicted 2-2 for City. I also predicted 2-2 against Newcastle, and it was a 6-3, a 0-0. I didn't predict the Man United Spurs game actually, so didn't fail on that. Chelsea Man U. Oh my god. 2-1 United. 2-1 United. Keith, just the one transfer for me, Trossard to Foden. Just noticed you haven't got Martinelli. Indeed, Keith, I haven't got Martinelli. He's such a damaging person to my team. He could absolutely annihilate me, and that was another option. So in my game week selection video, I was talking about Saka and Martinelli. I didn't mention Foden I did mention him as an option. I just didn't discuss it in more detail. With Martinelli and Saka, it was again a coin flip. I just think Saka's probably more nailed on the penalties. We just don't know with Martinelli. I've just gone against ownership as well. That's another problem. He's like 50% owned, but I don't know. I've gone Saka instead, mate. 3-2 in my opinion. It's SJ. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be 5 goals in it. I can't see that much. Maybe 3, maybe 2. Patrick, you brought in Martinelli. Good option, mate. Solid option. The one man that's missing from this squad, to be honest. I mean, next week, obviously I can't show now on the official page of the fixtures, but next week they play Forest, don't they, Arsenal, I think. That's a week where I don't know. I don't want to be forced into a move just based on ownership. I don't like that. But, you know, maybe Zaha to Martinelli happens. You still have apparently a lot of coins in your country. Yeah. Doesn't matter how many times I flip them, we still have more. Yeah, I think it's a weird one really, because I guess before making content, maybe I didn't realise that I'd say certain things more than others. Phenomenal is a word I use way too much. Phenomenal is a word I use way too much, for sure. I say for sure as well. Klopp press conference, for sure. They play Southampton, then Forest. Yeah. I thought so. Right, guys, I'm obviously going to stick around for a little bit. Let's, if you don't mind, let's talk about sort of volume. I know that Tanoki mentioned that. What do we think overall about the stream in terms of... So I've kind of changed things around a little bit, right? I've got the mini league and the follow button kind of animated to my left. Obviously, I've kept everything in terms of team details above me. YouTube chat's now there. We've got the fixtures below me. How do we feel about the layout? I know this is more of just like a kind of, I don't know, aesthetic question rather than FPL specifically, but I do want to keep improving the content. I've been messing around with all sorts of things to do with the graphics for the content, so hopefully you enjoy the changes. But I just want to make sure that it's good, right? That's the thing. I want to make sure that it's right for you guys. A lot of you return to me, so I'm obviously doing something right, but I just want to make sure, you know, again, volume, is it good? Are the graphics clear? Anything that I should improve? Layout looks great. Thank you, Keith. Appreciated. I do love the transfers thing at the side. Perfect. I mean, to be honest, but basically the way I do it, if anyone's interested in like how I do things, I have had some questions on Instagram on how I do it. So I use Canva predominantly as the graphic design tool. I actually have a graphic design degree, and it's almost blasphemy that I don't use Adobe programs. So if you've used graphic design programs before, Adobe is pretty much the go-to. but I just can't justify spending like 30 odd quid a month or whatever it is for Creative Cloud. It's too much money at the moment for something that I just do as a hobby. So I use Canva, which is a free tool. I basically make the background, so like this is just essentially just a PNG that I use at the background. This stuff above me, I might change the style of it a little bit, but it kind of fits the branding of the channel overall, right? But I use Canva to create it. I've then got OBS text for the rank, the arrow, the in the bank. That's all OBS stuff, so I don't have to keep creating the background, basically. Tanoki will be good for you when you become the biggest FPL YouTube. I promise you, that is one thing I can promise you, right? My FPL content might be very coin flip heavy, but I will not become the biggest FPL YouTuber, that's for sure. Andy's got that absolutely locked down, mate. He cannot be taken off that throne, I don't think. And to be honest, that's not my aim. My aim is not to do that. I just enjoy the game. I enjoy creating the content, and that's what it's about. You know, I do see a few content creators that get caught up in the Twitter drama and like other stuff that just, you know, that's just not me personally. I just think you put your face on a camera, you talk about something that you love and enjoy, and that's what it should be about. It shouldn't be about, you know, who's right, who's wrong. It's just it's like pundits, right? That's what we are at the end of the day. We're just trying to evaluate what's in front of us. So I don't think my aim is not to become the biggest FPL YouTuber. My aim really, like anybody, I suppose, is to just enjoy what they do for a living. So if I can ever make this a living for me, then, you know, brilliant. But for now, it is solely a hobby. I enjoy my actual job as well, which is something that not everybody can say. So, but I'm glad that you like the layouts. In terms of the content of the, I don't know if we can, let me just see if, so what I'm going to do, I think this is my old team selection content, but let me just have a look. Is it this one? Okay, so this screen, how do we feel about the upgrade on this as well? Tanoki, yeah, I get that, but when the ones who blow up are exactly like they never expect it. Yeah, that's true. I mean, people don't expect these things, but I don't know. I just feel like I've got to just enjoy the journey. That's the most important thing. Decent rank equals viewers. Yeah, very true. Well, I mean, look at Raptor, right? Again, Ross is someone that I do like viewing. He's, you know, he takes FPL to another level with the psychology aspect. I think he offers something different. He's obviously got into 3-digit territory with rank, so I think his sort of, you know, viewership is well deserved for sure. Patrick, what happens to Jonathan Parr FPL today? His team channel is no longer active. Your layout is fine for me. Great. I'm not sure. Keith, what is your job? I'm guessing graphic design of some sorts. No, mate. I actually never followed up with it. I basically went solo for a couple of years after I graduated. I had my own studio essentially, but it was like, I say studio, it wasn't like I was employing 10 people. I just outsourced some work. I did a lot of freelance stuff. No, I just needed to make the pennies essentially. You know, I've got a family now, so I actually work in IT. I do nothing for graphic design. I'm more of a data analyst for quite a formidable company. So I'll do all right, mate. I do all right. But yeah, I kind of mess around with data, so that's another reason why kind of FPL fits how I am as a person and how my kind of brain works, I suppose. I like seeing a lot of data and trying to manipulate it and make decisions on that. So I do it for a living in this. But yeah, anyway, I've got this in front of us just so that I can talk about like this new layout as well. I want feedback. I've never done this before, but I've upgraded this. This is what obviously I put out for a team selection video for you guys. I changed this part of it so that we talk about, in terms of a full breakdown of the game week, I now just do this at the beginning of a team selection video. Do you like this layout as well? So it's that side. Yes, that side. Let's get my hand right. Do you like the fact that I've done it like this? Yes, SAP, mate. That is the system that I work with. Tanoki, I think the massive face with the duh expression and the mouth open on the thumbnail helps too. Yes, indeed. Not sure I'll put my my face on there one day. Maybe I will. Keith, I worked and programmed for Hewlett-Packard for 16 years, baking that. Nice. I think that's the thing with IT. I don't know. It's such a huge world. Like I didn't realize just how many people kind of cross over. I suppose across different businesses in that world as well. Tanoki, I love this layout. Perfect. That is the type of stuff that I want to be seeing. So yeah, obviously the team selection doesn't follow suit with this fully, because the team selection then I could just play the recording and you'll see what it moves to. But yeah, I've obviously matched the borders to the colours of the fixture so that it's maybe a little bit more clear. Separated the points out to the fixture that they had. But yeah, I'm glad you like it. Patrick, I love to work with SAP. It's a bit of a complex system though, right? Like it depends on who you work for, but it can be customized obviously to a whole new levels. So I like working with it as well. It's one of those, I think you either love it or you hate it. But the way that I see it with SAP is that I'll always have a job, put it that way. There's just so many businesses out there that use it. I know that I'm always going to be covered. Yeah, so then team selection, like I say, with the animation, sorry, we're going to have to just let this play out a little bit. And I know I'm doing this live, so sorry for anyone that's already seen this stuff. But as you can see, we've got the players fading in, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the main point is that, again, do you think that the borders maybe should be matched to the difficulty of the fixture? Is there any improvements that we should make with this content, or are we happy? Because to be honest, this is the content that people view the most, right? Team selections, in terms of my analytics, I obviously follow what is successful and what isn't on the channel, right? I've not deep dove too much into it because I do want to improve, but again, this is just a hobby, so we'll just over time I'll gradually improve it. But this is the stuff that people watch the most. So again, I want to make sure that this is right. And what's your opinions on this? Is there anything you'd add? Anything you'd remove? Obviously, on the breakdown, I've got the little team of the week star. So in terms of the official, if we go back to the stream layout, I've got the little kind of that little star around Cancelo, Trippier, Saka, and so on. I've got that now as well. Tanoki, the best part of the layout is the lack of bright green grass colour that most other layouts have. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I really wanted to avoid that. And here's a little tip as well, or not even a tip, but just a fun fact, I suppose. The FPL page rebranded itself after I started making content, and now it's kind of a little bit frustrating in some ways because... sorry, let's just go back to the main recording so we can have a look, and I'll put this back up. There, pause. It's a little bit frustrating because purple wasn't even like in the mix anywhere, and now all of a sudden with the official FPL branding, it's changed the color scheme a little bit. But I wanted to go different, so yeah, that's why there's lack of green. Team selection could maybe have upcoming fixtures. I like that. What maybe underneath the players, would you say? So where I've got current fixture. Good idea. Tanoki, I think the bright blue to the dark blue contrast could be higher. Okay, fine. Well noted. Well noted. I'll take both points on board. I'll need to try and figure out how to put the extra fixtures in for sure, because the size of everything, the players I'd essentially have the fixtures underneath their heads almost, right? But I'll have a look at the colours. I'll just maybe manipulate them a little bit. Let's go all the way to the end so we can see what the finished product looks like. Because there's bench options in here as well, right? So bench, obviously in the beginning I've added now like the little goalkeeper 1, 2 and 3 graphic. Just small little improvements there. So that'll be on the next video. Any more information down below that you want to see? Obviously I've got my game week points up to the point that I record the video, the rank, everything else. Any other details down there that you'd like? Appreciate people staying on, by the way, because I know, you know, this mainly people watch the channel for tips and advice, I suppose. But yeah, come. Yeah, just give the feedback where it's needed. Really, I think I want to improve the channel, like I say. Keith, not too keen on the fixture difficulty. Looks like Trossard to me doesn't play. Maybe that's just me. Okay, good point. Good point. So my thinking around that was that Trossard, let's say where the purple background is, I would put either a flag, because I started introducing that. So with Maddison, I put the red Dorito of Death next to him when he was suspended last week. But you're right, that probably maybe is a little bit unclear. Maybe I need to change that. I think actually, look, I've got... So with... sorry, I know I have to keep going backwards and forwards. See Tony's fixture there with Chelsea. Maybe that darker red is maybe a little bit more clear. Tanoki, in my opinion, the main appeal of live streams is chatting in chat. Yeah, no, it is true, of course. I mean, I know that it's different, right? It's just we can talk about FPL, we can talk about life, we can talk about anything you want, really, to be honest, for the next 10 minutes. But I thought I'd stay on and just get some feedback for the channel because, like I say, I want to improve it. I want to make things better. And you are the audience. You are the people that are watching it, right? So what better place than to ask you if you're in the chat? I'd watch Made videos if I just wanted tips. Yeah, true. Bench area background could be darker. I'll definitely do that. That's just an opacity thing, I think. I've literally just got it set to like 50%, so I can just change that. The blue around the names may be a brighter colour to contrast more with the purple. Okay. And black names. Yeah, I've tried this before. I've tried this. So with the fixtures, you see where obviously I've got that in black. I tried Andreas, Zaha, Trossard, all of that in black, and it just didn't work against the purple. It looks too kind of merged. Again, though, I can play around with the opacity and have a look, but again, thanks for all the tips, guys. I appreciate it. Like I say, you know, I'm making this content for you. I know that you obviously, live stream for sure. You're involved in the chatting and again, giving advice to other viewers, but ultimately, I do want to improve the vids. Keith, you could go down the XG route, have expected goals, assists, etc. Have a separate screen for that after your picks. Yeah, so, I mean, I've got a whole, the watch list, you know, kind of series or whatever, kind of has all of that layout involved. I'm not sure I want to, because I worry about making the videos longer than 20 minutes. Like 20 minutes for me is a cut off for like, I don't want to do any more than that because the retention rate is just too small for this type of content. People skip through it all the time, right? So you just want to see captains, you want to see who's transferred in. So the XG stuff, it may be a little bit difficult to fit in here, but it's a good point. Patrick, black on dark purple isn't that great? Yeah, indeed. It merges into it, but I take on board the border change for sure. Like I'll have a look at seeing how I can manipulate the border or the fixtures. That would be on white around the names. I see. So take away the purple, change it. But I could do that. I can have a look. We can go through some different bits, some different options. But yeah, let's. I'll go back to the stream layout anyway. But yeah, like I say, thanks for the advice and tips there, guys. Because like I say, I want to create the content and you know, I enjoy making it. I want to make it better for you moving forward. So for anyone that's just tuning in, there's the team. We've obviously locked in now by 25 minutes. Captain Haaland, Saka and Foden in. Pretty confident that Saka starts regardless of that Dorito. I think as well, in terms of upgrading, I'll probably I'll upgrade the stream in terms of the stream ending. I've realised on watching some of the streams back, because there's a bit of a delay between OBS and YouTube Live. When I end the stream, as I'm saying kind of, my farewells and goodbyes and good lucks, it cuts me off a little bit. So I'll do a kind of end page, just to kind of, just a small animation or something at the end, which should alleviate that. And to you, Patrick, thank you for tuning in, sir. If you're off, good luck with this game week. But yeah, I'll stick around probably until 11:30, guys, so 5 minutes. I mean, we don't have to sit, I know it's an FPL channel, so we can keep talking about FPL, but throw anything at me if you want to just, I don't know, ask any questions, go for it. Keith, apart from that, it looks great. People will come in time. Ross and Oscar were small last year, just got to get that good season. Yeah, I think, to be honest, again, the aim, it's interesting because probably every YouTuber will say the same. At the beginning, it's just, I just do it because I enjoy it, blah, 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 and all the rest of it. But that is genuinely the case for me. Of course, I would love the flexibility with a young family of having a full-time job that is YouTube, absolutely. But it's not the full-time aim. I just enjoy this game. It's the only thing I really have time for. And yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy the journey of it. So with Oscar and Ross, you're absolutely right. They absolutely exploded. Oscar was number 1 for 3 months or something? The first 2 months of the season. Early bench boost as well, I think it was, that helped him out as well to keep that number 1 spot. But he gained so many subs. But the thing is, he's worthy of it because of his content. It's good. It's not just about the good season. Start boasting your game week 1 ranking week 7 if you did. Tanoki, glad to know you're doing okay in IT. Hearing things are pretty bad in the UK at the moment. Yeah, the cost of living's rubbish. It is really rubbish here, to be honest. Like, to put it into perspective, I'm the sole earner. Like, my wife doesn't have to go to work. We're in a position where, like, we're fortunate enough. I've got a mortgage on a house. We didn't over budget ourselves either. We kept ourselves pretty okay. And from a budgeting perspective, look, mate, I don't really spend that much money, if I'm honest. Like, I know I've got a Nike hat on, but to be honest with you, a lot of my clothes either come from like Primark or cheaper options. I just don't care anymore. If you asked me 10 years ago, I definitely would have been like, nah, I need to wear Adidas, I need to wear Nike, I need to spend money on these things, but I just don't care anymore. We do treat ourselves here and there, but literally we are at capacity, to be honest. It's not the best situation, but we're surviving. Never give up. FPL ended up captaining Firmino. Punt of the week. Definitely, mate. Punt of the week indeed. But I did mention him on a watch list a couple of weeks ago, and I think he's a really solid option. I do. I think that, with Nunez kind of being in and out of the team, and now he's got maybe a potentially, short-term injury, I think he's a great option. Tanoki, did you see the Spider-Man pointing meme of euros, pounds and US dollars? No, I haven't, mate, but that sounds quite funny. Keith, to be fair, I don't like the ranked 150 in the world tag. Kind of stopped watching both of them because of it. Yes, I'm childish. The thing is, it does bring in new viewership. And it's a situation where you're going to ride it, aren't you? You absolutely are. Like, everybody is going to sit, nobody in the FPL world is going to sit there and say, if I was ranked 1, I'm not going to sit there and put it in my thumbnail or my title. Absolutely you would. Absolutely you would. But like I said, for me personally, I watch Oscar, I watch Ross, I watch Andy, I watch Dan from time to time, FPL mate. I watch pretty much them 3 predominantly. I watch a bit of Simply FPL, although he's just had a baby, so he doesn't really create that much content as much. FPL Phillips, like I mentioned, is studying. There's plenty of content creators out there that are great, and I watch them pretty much for what they're talking about. It's not ranked. I wasn't subscribed to Ross because of his rank. I was subscribed to him because he offered a different point of view. I think it's great. Like because he's written a book of psychological, the psychological aspects of FPL. I think that's a great selling point for him. The Spider-Man pointing meme was about all of them being almost equal value at some point. Yeah, I mean, it's going that way. It's going that way. I think that'd be better for the world anyway, though, right? Like, currency exchanges are just, you know, sorry if you're a Forex exchange, I don't know, trader and you're making your money that way, but is it just not, does it not make sense to have one currency? Keith, Allison, Milner, Gomez, VVD, Robertson. Yeah, so Trent's on the bench then. But no Nunez. No Nunez. Never give up. At Keith, I actually did the same. It's healthy to be childish now and then. Yeah, true that. True that. True that. True that. Respect your inner child, I suppose. The problem with one currency is that who controls it. Very true. It's a dangerous conversation, this, isn't it? What have we started? At 11:30. Yeah, true that. Well, guys, again, thank you very much for tuning in and watching today's stream. I think if there's no more questions, really, I'm going to wrap it up there. It's just ace. Like I say, this community is growing. It's fun creating content for you. I will, like I say, keep trying to improve it. I'll keep asking for feedback. So I appreciate those that have stuck around to give me feedback on the graphics. Eventually, we will get to that 500 subscriber mark, no doubt, and I'll have a community page, and I'm sure then I'll reach out a little bit more in terms of polling and all sorts of different things. I've got some plans for the channel moving forward, but yeah, we'll have to see how things work. But yeah, absolutely amazing. So if you haven't already, guys, before I go, I'm going to do one last plug and just hit that subscribe button for me. It really does help me out. Like I say, I want to reach that 500 mark. If I can get there before the World Cup, that'd be absolutely amazing. I'll put out plenty of content during the World Cup as well. Don't know if I'll be playing the World Cup Fantasy yet. I'll have to see what happens with time. But yeah. And the last thing I trust is another independent multi for the FBI agent looking at this chat. Good luck for this week's FPL. Indeed, mate, indeed. Cheers, mate. Hope you get a green arrow if you don't report us. Yeah, well, mate, I'm just, like I say, I'm really happy with this community and just how it's growing. I think there's just so much engagement that I just didn't expect. I mean, it's just, like I say, I create it for fun. It's a hobby for me. I absolutely love it. And yeah, plenty more to come this season. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. All the best for this week. Good luck with any captaincy differentials. Never give up. Good luck with that Firmino pick, mate. I'll be watching the game now. Yeah, and thanks for joining, everybody. Thanks, Keith. Thanks for joining, mate. Good to see you again. Same for you, Tanoki, as well. All the returning viewers. Patrick, I know you're a viewer as well, mate, that keeps returning. It's SJ. A few other shout-outs as well to you, boys. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. And yeah, I'll see you next week. I'll be creating some content this week, so look out for that. And yeah, I'll be doing another stream next week, of course. So yeah, thank you very much. Take care, guys. All the best. Good luck for this week, and I will see you in the next one.